this is the second video to present the next part of Geralt's costume. I have made Geralt's doublet. Also, I have made a breastplate in leather with little belts on, and I have tainted the fake fur. You will follow my process of how I made all of that. I still have some work to do. For certain part of this costume, it was a test. I was trying something, I was testing new skills, and I've learned. So it is confirmed, I am going in November with those costumes. So me, Yennefer, my sister as Ciri, and my boyfriend will be wearing this Geralt's costume. And I am very excited. For what I have managed to do so far and for the time I still have, I think everything will be finished correctly. So the only thing I am not sure to be able to make very nicely is the swords. Because I am not a prop maker, I still have a very lot progress to make in this area. So making prop in foam or in other materials is still hard for me, so I still have a lot to work on. With no further ado, let's start on this costume. Allons-y! So basically, I started by making a mock-up for the doublet. Then I cut the pieces. Then I trimmed the wadding. Then I pinned the wadding with the fabric. Then I traced the lines that I then followed with the stitching. This way I can make nice and straight lines. Before assembling the front and back part of the doublet, I'm trimming the excessive wadding before stitching it, so it doesn't have too much layers. It's time for the back part. I am doing the exact same thing as the front part. It's time for the lining. I'm starting by assembling the two parts. Then I am top stitching the dots. I've pinned carefully the front and back of the doublet. Stitching wadding is always a bit tricky. The foot presser almost always gets stuck in it. It's then time to pinning the lining with the doublet. I'm stitching it right side on right side. Then flip it over and top stitch it. Then I place the bias all around the arm cap. I then sew it carefully, trying not to break my needle on one of the pins. It was then time to start the decorative embroidery. I, of course, made 2 different embroidery with 2 different colors because it needs to be nice. As I don't have airless painting, I used my brush, water, and I did it slowly, trying to make sure not to put too much painting on it. In the end, it looks like what I wanted. Of course, I'm sure it would have looked better with an airless painting, but well, it will do. I wasn't much sure because while painting in, I thought it was too dark, but thankfully, while drying, it wasn't that dark. You can briefly see when it has dried and where it hasn't. Then it was time to start the front piece of the costume, the fake leather breastplate. As you can see, I have put the pattern on my fake leather at the wrong side, traced the lines, then cut all of them. And then, right side on one side, I stitch all of them. Then I folded the fake leather at the corners. I pinned it with clips and then sew it, removing them one by one. I've added darts to mold the body correctly. Not finished, but look at it for now. I've not recorded, but I've made little beds on the front of the breastplate. I then sew the little beds with little triangles. I did struggle with the stitching. My sewing machine was already showing signs of a dying breath. I've made 3 different types of those triangles before I decided to go for this one. Finally, it was time to make the fake fur. I started by cutting the excessive fake fur. This way, I had a better shape to place on the shoulders. This fake fur was actually a rug. Cutting the fake fur on the wrong side actually helps not to cut the hairs of the fake fur. So fluffy. Time for an experiment. Yes, it was experiment because I didn't know if it will work. So basically I took a brush, start with a grayish painting and randomly placed it on the fake fur, while with my hands and fingers tried to brush it through the hairs. I tried to accentuate the shadows by putting more paint inside the hair between them. That way it gave darker patches on the fake fur. As you can imagine, my hand was dark, really dark. And finally, it was time to see if all of that worked. And it did! Using my hairdryer, I saw that the fake fur was tainted correctly, nicely, better than with series fake fur. Brushing through the hairs, it looked nice, it looks fluffy, like when it was white. My light at that moment wasn't really nice, but when I put it on daylight, it was, well, you'll see just after. And here it is. So I still have some work to do with Geralt costume, but it's progressing very well. I'm quite happy for now how it looks like. So as you've seen, I have done the breastplate in fake leather, the doublet and the fake fur. For now, the breastplate is not finished. I will finish it with the other accessories. I still need to make the armbands in fake leather too, and the splats. I hope it's the right word. Once I have finished the other accessories, I will be able to finish the fake leather parts, because I will do them all together. Meaning I have to make the finish painting to add shadows and more texture on the fake leather, as I have done on the doublet and the fake fur. So the fake fur, I think, has a really made finish. I think it looks better than series fake fur. I have improved my technique, I guess. Since it is fake fur, it's still a bit rough, but even with the painting, it does conserve its original texture. It looks great with the movement. It was completely white, as you've seen on the video. For the things that I'm not quite happy with, the stitching, the seams on the breastplate are not very good. I had, sadly, some trouble with my sewing machine and I had to replace it. So it was the last thing I sew with my sewing machine before telling myself that no, I can't keep it like that, because it does an awful job. It took me some time to do the decorative embroidery on the doublet, but I think it had some texture and aspect on the costume from afar. I think I have also managed to make a costume that is very nice for Geralt, but I can also use it for a medieval theme. It is very nice for, I don't know, just a random character. That's why I wanted to make my own design of a costume and not make a cosplay from an already existing Geralt costume. There are many that are very nice, but since I wanted to have a costume with multiple purpose, I've made my own creation. In the next video, I will show you how I made the armbands, the splats, and the finish touches on this costume, like the painting job. And then I will reveal the complete costume, and I will make sure that I can record my boyfriend wearing it, so it looks right, because my mannequin is for women, so it doesn't look very great on it. It doesn't do it justice. It's too small for it, because normally it's supposed to be stretched. In accessories, I have also made a little pouch which is sturdy and it will be able to put a few things in it. I also made some files handlers. I hope you enjoy this video. Next one will be the final look of the whole costume. The final video will probably be published after we got to the convention in mid-November, so I will probably add some record of all three of us with our costume. I'm sure I will really enjoy wearing this costume, and I will not be alone, and it will be so cool to be a group this time. I won't be the only one to wear a costume. I will have my sister and my boyfriend, and I wanted that for a very long time. So I managed to get them on this adventure with me, whether they want it or not. But do we care? No. If you want to see the next part of this costume and the finished look, don't hesitate to subscribe to see the next part. Come with me in my adventure of making costumes. Au revoir!